Dario again. I can't wait to be Dario again. Life I love is making podcasts with my friends. I just can't wait to get Dario again. Alright, as I promised a few weeks ago, I finally watched. Well, I have watched many things, but I finally watched the new Disney Plus Marvel MCU series, Secret Invasion. And let's just say I have many thoughts. Many thoughts. So let's get into it. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Alright, so I'm not going to beat around the bush too much. I'm going to do this real quickly. So I'm going to tell you, spoiler-free, what I think about the show, and then I'm going to get into spoilers. So if you don't want to watch the series, but you're worried that you're going to miss something that could affect the MCU, I'm going to tell you what I think it is. It's kind of a big deal in a way, but it's not really that much fun to watch, in my humble opinion. So, is the show watchable? Kind of. Is it mediocre as fuck? Yes. Is it a waste of an awesome opportunity and an awesome storyline? Definitely. Is it stupid beyond all recognition? For sure. Is it all the things that the MCU that they have been doing with the MCU lately that we find super annoying? Definitely. It's not the worst. Definitely not the worst example. But still, in my humble opinion, the biggest problem is that it could have been better, and how they just generally have misused the Skrulls in the MCU. So, there you go. That's the short version possible. That's the spoiler-free stuff. Now, I'm going to get into the things with a little bit of spoilers. But before I get into it, let me just give you a quick reminder. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. And comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me on Instagram at DariusDW and at Super Dario World. Also, I'm trying something new here. Trying a new form of audio and a camera that actually has a face track thing. So it's supposed to be following me around. So hopefully it's a little bit better. It doesn't move around as much, but it's not perfect. So a little bit of patience here. Again, we're testing stuff out. Also, I've had a few issues the last couple of weeks, not with the podcast, with life in general. I'll probably get into that in another show because I really want to rip into something. And so, again, just, keep that in mind. There's material coming. Also, I saw the Elvis movie. I'll do a review for that. I know it came out a while ago. It came out last year, but, I'll share my thoughts. Many people haven't seen it. But let's focus on Secret Invasion specifically. So, for those of you who don't know, Secret Invasion is a Marvel comic book storyline that deals with the alien invasion of Earth of an alien race called the Skrulls. Now, the Skrulls are shapeshifters. So it's Secret Invasion because you don't know who is actually a Skrull. You don't know who's been taken over by a Skrull. And so that's the secret part. And it's actually pretty scary, and you're nervous because you don't know, oh man, my god, is Captain America a Skrull? Is this guy a Skrull? Who can I trust? Who can you trust? So it's a fun little mind game. And I felt that well, first off, from the Captain Marvel movie, they'd already ruined the Skrulls because they made Skrulls kind of like not the bad guys. They made them kind of like the victims. And so that, to me, that was really bad because it's a really fun enemy. Shapeshifters are really scary. I mean, just go back to watching The Thing. Shapeshifters are super terrifying, in my humble opinion. And so that was a wasted opportunity there. But now the storyline basically is, since the end of Captain Marvel, the Skrulls have been slowly trickling into Earth, and it's now there's apparently more of them than they thought, and basically they want to take over the planet, right? They're like, well, why should we find a new planet, a home planet that Nick Fury promised us and hasn't delivered, and why don't we just, take over this one? Now, there's a basic flaw in that storyline, and it's pretty simple. We've seen Guardians of the Galaxy. We know there's a buttload of planets out there, and most of those planets, habitable, and they could have been easily taken over by the Kree. Earth is not an easy planet to take over because, humans will be like, well, F you, and just, start nuking everything. So, not an ideal planet to try to take over. So, you would think they would just go to another one. So that's, flaw number one. Stupidest thing ever. Whoever wrote that particular storyline hasn't seen any of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They haven't seen squat of the MCU. So, there you go. I mean, just to put it pretty simple. You want to find a planet? Go to the planet where Thanos was basically a farmer. There you go. It's clearly habitable. You can grow food there, and it's kind of abandoned. So, again, whoever wrote this is a fucking moron, or they think that you're a fucking moron. So I don't know which one is worse. That fucking morons get a buttload of money, or that people who think you're a fucking moron get a buttload of money. So, major flaw there, right there, and that's the foundation of the show. So it's super stupid. Again, the way that they've handled the Skrulls has been really stupid to me, because throughout the show, they kind of tell you who the Skrulls are. And the Skrulls always turn into kind of the same person. Now, if it would have been me, in order to make this more fun and scary and confusing, I would have had a different actor for every single time the same Skrull appeared. So never have them be the same person twice. You know what I'm saying? That way you're like, oh crap, they could literally be anybody. This is super confusing. Kind of the way that they did it in Captain Marvel. That just, the little old lady on the train. Now they try to explain it like, oh, the longer that you stay in your form, the harder you are to identify. Identifying a Skrull is kind of super easy. Honestly, what I would do, like the easiest way to find out who a Skrull is, in the show, they just cut off a finger. You could just cut off their hair. You just grab a piece of hair, you cut it off, and if it stays human, turns out that they're human. If it doesn't stay human, turns out that they're not. So, again, based on the rules of their own fucking show, but they could have made it more interesting, drawing blood or actually chopping off fingers or something. I don't know. Point is, I would have had more fun with the fact that they're shapeshifters. I mean, these are shapeshifters who rarely shapeshift, and it's really annoying. They do it a few key times for certain things that they need, but I just found it really annoying. And I get it. When you have a big name actor, you kind of want to use them, but you're kind of sacrificing the story, what's fun about it. Also, major flaw. Again, this is just plot holes galore. So, and this came all the way back from Captain Marvel. Now, if you guys remember, Captain Marvel took place in the 90s. And then in the first Avengers movie, which again took place in the 2000s, Nick Fury tells Thor that the reason why they kept all the weapons from, from Hydra and all that stuff is because of him. Because they figured out that there's aliens out there, and so they needed to be prepared. Now, is it possible or likely that Nick Fury was lying back then? Sure. But we know, as the audience, that Nick Fury and the government has been aware of aliens existing at least since the 90s. So, all right, he could have been lying, fair enough. The thing that doesn't make any sense is the Skrulls that are on Earth apparently agree to stay on Earth in exchange for Nick Fury and Captain Marvel finding a new plan for them. In exchange, they're going to be working for Nick Fury. So they're going to be super spies. I don't understand how... you guys remember Captain America Civil War? I don't understand how Captain America Civil War can happen. Hydra infiltrating you when you have Skrull spies. That just doesn't make sense. If you have Skrulls for spies, who can actually kind of read your mind and stuff, you should have taken over the world like that. At least you should be on top of all the spy shit everywhere. Because again, you got shapeshifters, not just one, multiple, that can actually get into people's thoughts. So it makes no sense with the Avengers movie. It makes no sense with Captain America, Winter Soldier, right then and there. And so now they do go through all this old boring stuff of, okay, Nick Fury is old, the washed up old male, that he needs to be replaced by a new younger female, blah blah blah. It's dumb, it's boring, it's played out, and again, it's one of those things like, dude, why do you hate your characters? I get it. The storyline of the old vet who wants to retire, but he keeps getting, just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in, or trying to redeem himself for old sins. That could be fun, But that's not how they played it. That's kind of like, okay, he's an old incompetent that caused a bunch load of trouble, and now it's up to the young female blood to take care of it. It's like, dude, why do you hate your characters? Why can't you make Nick Fury still be competent, dealing with the consequences of bad decisions, and at the same time have a female character who is equally or more competent that's trying to, to introduce him that way? I don't understand. I hate it. There's freaking plot armor galore left and right, and the big thing about this story is that they're trying to introduce the Super Skrulls. Right now, for those of you who don't know what a Super Skrull is, or the thing that happened here that's relevant is that they introduced the Super Skrulls, and basically Super Skrulls that can actually mimic superheroes and their powers. So what happened, big context of the show, basically there's a Skrull rebel, there's a million Skrulls on Earth. They didn't tell Nick Fury, and Talos was like, whoops, sorry buddy, but fucked up there, should have told you. There's this million Skrulls on Earth as refugees, and by the way, this is a very anti-immigration movie. I'm sorry, show. It's super anti-immigration. It's actually hysterical, especially anti-illegal immigration. It's hysterical. Sometimes, whatever, doesn't matter. But it's oops, sorry, we didn't tell you, but yeah, we're kind of there. And there's a new general who's taken over, and he's kind of an extremist, and it looks like he wants to start World War III. So humans destroy each other, and then the Skrulls can take over Earth. So they've taken up key positions of power, blah, 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 all that stuff. Again, so secret invasion stuff. We know who every fucking Skrull is. It's really annoying. There's one or two shockers, but most of the time it's very clear who the Skrulls are. It makes that mystery, that drama disappear, in my humble opinion. And so they are, let me just do this real quick. So they're trying to find this guy who always looks the same, and it's really stupid. And this guy is trying to find, basically, after the battle with Thanos for Earth, Nick Fury had a team of Skrulls go through the battlefield and collect DNA from everybody. So this Skrull is trying to find DNA from all the superheroes in order for them to become Super Skrulls and be able to create a Super Skrull that can have all their powers, right? And so it's stupid because he's the leader of the team who collected all that DNA, and now they're like, Nick Fury, give it to us, instead of just taking it at the moment, but whatever. Idiots. So I guess they didn't think ahead at that moment. So Nick Fury ends up handing it to them. Why? I don't fucking know. It's so that another Skrull can actually get superpowers and whatever. The point is, you end up with the villain that has all the powers of supposedly every single character in the MCU, and at the same time there's a female character played by Daenerys Targaryen, Emilia Clarke, who has the exact same, so all the powers in the MCU, and they fight each other. The CGI looks terrible, but the one who ends up winning the fight is the character who we've never been told is actually a fighter. So there's a guy who we know is a trained killer, legit trained killer, and we see him take down several Skrull soldiers. And then there's a chick who we never even see fight in the show, who was able to beat him, in a Super Skrull battle. It's ridiculous, it's stupid, but whatever. And so now her name's Gaia, by the way. So now she's the one that ends up having all the powers of every single character in the MCU. So theoretically, she's the most powerful being in the MCU right now, I think. Well, at least, on the hero side. So it's just one of those things like, man, just Emilia Clarke just continues just to suck. Because they made her a Mary Sue once again. And it's stupid. I don't get it. I don't understand. There's also a big storyline about Nick Fury marrying a Skrull, which really makes no sense. But, good on him. Marrying a shapeshifter could be pretty cool. If you guys remember that scene in X2, X-Men United, where Mystique tries to seduce Wolverine by changing shapes and becoming all the females of the X-Men. It's like, yeah, you know what? That's a solid argument. That's the most solid argument for dating Mystique, and the reason why I understand now why Mystique has so many children. But yeah, so overall, again, maybe the only relevant thing that happens in the MCU is that Emilia Clarke's character starts becoming a thing, and that Nick Fury doesn't retire. Now, supposedly the next Avengers movie has to do with Secret Invasion, but I mean, they already killed off the guy who's supposedly leading that particular revolution, and now the most powerful Skrull is supposed to be their ally. I don't get it. It's stupid. It was very stupid for many reasons that I already mentioned, and others that I don't even remember right now. It was many episodes, and again, the biggest thing, this could have been a very awesome spy thriller. You guys remember watching Captain America, Winter Soldier, where you're like, who's Hydra and who's not? Oh my God, I don't know. That tension, it's never there. In the entire show, you're never really with that tension of who is the Skrull, who isn't. And this is actually more terrifying, because again, they're aliens, so they're naturally more powerful than you are. I mean, they're stronger, they can physically change shape, so they can be anywhere, anybody at any time. So wasted opportunity. The effects kind of suck. The storyline's stupid. They kind of ruin a bunch of stuff from other movies. And so overall, you're not missing much. I mean, again, like I said, the supposedly the next Avengers movie will be a sequel. Oh, by the way, Nick Fury never calls in the Avengers at any time, and he's saying because we don't want them to capture one of the Avengers. But how about if you pick a good one? You know, how about if you pick like a powerful one? How about if you bring in the Hulk? Let's see a Skrull try to stop the Hulk. Let's see how that goes. But what can you do? It's whatever. But again, just a bunch of wasted money, and the MCU's not going anywhere. It's just, honestly, it's probably dead at this point. There's really nothing to look forward to. I only really watched this show because they asked me to do a review for it, and I had the time. So there you go. That's it. That's all I have to say. As always, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Any comments, questions, it really helps me out. Any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario SDW or at Super Dario World on Instagram. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again next time.